Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world. Whether you're of the whether the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I'd like to welcome you this morning on this Q2UA Covenant Awakenings special that we do every Friday for a little bit of what's going on in the organization in terms of the larger audience, the YouTube audience. Now, family, make no mistake about it, Africa is the central focus, the centerpiece. And if it were not, then you would not be hearing anything from the Caucasian social media talking heads talking about Niger, talking about Mali, Burkina Faso, and even Algeria supporting the decisions that this African nation had done to remove, and let's just call it what it is, a Western plant. We have to understand the code words of the West and quote unquote democracy. And even though I don't, there's a blind reluctance to understand what democracy truly means or the quote unquote electoral process or lack thereof. Just because you cast your vote doesn't necessarily mean that your vote was counted. How many times do we see that, especially in a presidential election? These folks say, "Oh, we lost a vote. The Dominion machines weren't working. All of this craziness to quote unquote tip the scales." And in certain places of the world, the democratic process is a lot more chaotic. Oh, we're counting it by hand. Oops, we counted this pile for this person twice. I think the world is starting to recognize and realize the game of the West in terms of installing puppet dictators under the guise of democracy. It worked for a while. And when you see that the key word of it was democratic, I think now folks realize, oh, yeah, that was a Western plant. It doesn't have the palpability anymore. Oh, they're democratically, it's a Democrat. Okay. Oh yeah, that means y'all installed them, and now you're mad that they got found out. Well, we would never support them if it wasn't a democratically. Okay. Same thing that they're trying to do in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm just saying, and that's quote unquote supposed to be democratically. Ah, I'm just saying. So, in my evaluation of the events that's going on, my question is going to be what other African nations will begin to follow suit or will begin to get a firmer understanding of their plight, and why, with the extensive amount of aid that they supposedly get, why their situation never gets better. But they get all the aid in the world, they get all this, they get all that, they're democratically elected, but they can't control the resources because it's democratically elected. I'm just saying. These are now the questions that the people on the ground are now asking themselves. This is why the folks over in Niger, they're back the coup. And there is no waning support. It is that support is drumming up and drumming up. And now, yep, you're right, Letitia. Israel, yep, the DR Congo is now protesting. It's a different day. It's a different time. It's a different season. It really is a different atmosphere. Shalom, brother Michael.
Shalom, Brother Carries, and to the family. How you all doing today?
Brother Michael, when you were there in April,
Mhm.
this was not anything. Well, I'm going to say this was kind of, it was broadcast, right? In Tanzania. But it wasn't really truly discussed. Am I correct, brother Michael?
Well, yeah. Hmm.
And then when we came back in May, there was a little bit of some grumblings, right, of discussions with these nations, right? The conversation was beginning to be had amongst the people. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yes, it is. They starting to see it. They seen the difference.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on? They seen the difference between themselves, uh, the other nations that are in their country. They seen that, and they seen, and for us on a small scale,
Mm-hmm.
they seen what we was out there trying to do. And that was just for a few people, but they seen it. They recognize who Karis is, who Mike is. That's one thing they did. They we may think that it's what? No, the brothers there are just like us here.
Mm-hmm.
They're not dumb. Something they just sit back. and and just continue to walk down the road. We're about the only ones who just don't walk down the road. If you're a problem, we go try to do something about that problem, and
Yes.
that is the way that we are built now. But there, they just walk down the road. If they see an issue, even though they know we go through there, they will slap me across the head and everything. And so they just go with it and get slapped across the head, but they make it across with and that's how their lives are.
Hmm.
That's how their lives are. And but when we was there, I mean, man, when we go out, we tip the brothers. Um, we talk with them, treat them like they family, and that's one thing they picked up on. They picked up on that. They knew who we were. They know
Hmm.
what we're about, and that, like I said, that's on a small scale.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna say as Mike had stayed out there till July, and when I came back on out there with Mike and brother Oral, we for me being there second time in less than a month, you could see that there was a definite attitude change
Hmm.
in how people were seeing and viewing the West, not us, but the West. And what was actually happening was, right, they were seeing it was something, it was distinguished, right? Something's different
Hmm.
with these brothers and sisters. Something's different with how they're wanting to move with us, how they're wanting to build with us. Because you have to understand when the Chinese are there, the Arabs, the Indians, and the Europeans, they know that it's going to be a game of give and take and not collaboration. They know they got to lose something to get something. And usually when they lose, they are that losing is more than what they're bringing in. It's the cost is more than the benefit, and their costs are always more than the benefit. So they know that on every single effort they're going to lose. It's just for them, how much will they lose? And that's really a shame to see it that way. But again, we deal with the same thing here. Whenever we decide to help each other as a people, well, there's a loss.
Hmm.
I personally can tell you of my struggles of when I decided to actively help our people in a full time basis in April. I could have just said to the Most High, "What you talking about, Willis?" and worked on getting me a full time job. But when I decided to change my LinkedIn profile and said that I'm going to jump all the way in, well, guess what? That is a personal sacrifice. And that personal sacrifice, it does hurt,
Yes,
especially when
indeed.
you have kids. And honestly, not a lot of people would envy this position. But it's nice to see that what is happening on the continent is what the scripture says was going to happen. And that's really the hope and the reassurance that what we're doing is not in vain. And we definitely appreciate the help from our folks that support this mission. Brother Cecil, shalom. Yeah,
Shalom, brother. How you guys doing?
How you doing, brother?
doing well.
Pretty good, pretty good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, it
Awesome,
causes an
awesome.
echo.
Echo. I have a headphone on.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's why.
yeah, and if I turn it off, I might lose you guys. Let me see. If I lose you guys, I'll just jump back on. I'm on vacation for a little bit, so I have some time to be on the air. So I'm gonna try to turn this mic off.
I
Okay.
don't hear no echo. Oh, it's echo coming to me.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it is coming through you, Mike.
I don't know
Oh,
why it's coming to me.
so I'm good.
Yeah, you're good, Cecil.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, I just want to say, first of all, thank y'all for giving me this opportunity to be here. This is definitely a spiritual battle. I I I could attest to that. I've been in this walk from 1970. Let's see. Anyway, probably 78. You know, uh, been to many different denominations, different churches. One of my first books that I ever read was Religions of this World, and I was in eighth grade, just seeking. But now that I'm much more mature, and I know you guys were talking about this spiritual battle, not only a physical battle but a spiritual battle, and I just want to say that I now more recognize it, and because I recognize it, I'm paying attention to what's going on in the unseen. A lot of the things that's visible is beginning to make more sense. Case in point, I had an inspection uh, on a piece of property with the inspector come out from the city to take a look at it. He came out unbeknown to me. They called it inspection. He failed the inspection because certain things wasn't quite done yet, but I wasn't quite finished. So I spoke to the general contractor and I said, before you recall the inspection, give me a call because I want to be there when the inspector comes in case he has any questions. Now, here's why I say I started paying attention to the spiritual world. The general contractor said, yes, I will 100% do that. Now, the city don't open up until about 9 o'clock. And one mind told me, said, go around by the job first thing in the morning, go there and just make sure everything is good. So I went on the job at 7:25. 7:30, here comes the inspector, unknown to the general contractor, unknown to me, to check the job out. And I'm like, he's not even supposed to be to work yet. But that tells me that when I start paying more attention to what's really happening in the spiritual world, Yahweh put me there so that it didn't happen again. And
Mhm.
I just said it to say, we go into this struggle, with our mission with Africa and Karis and all you brothers are doing that. We are winning. We just don't. A lot of it just don't know it yet. Michael in the last days standing up for us. We on the winning side, and even though, uh, even though the struggle is hard, God, Yahweh will come through. He always do. And I just want to encourage you guys to continue to do so, and continue to fight. I'm supporting you guys as much as I can, with my limited resources. But yeah, guys, I think we're on the right track. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you, Brother Cecil.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot, brother. Yeah, it's I mean, we're not going to have anything easy. Everything with us is going to be it's going to be more of a battle, you know. And and just like what you said, we got to continue to encourage brothers and sisters, because anytime you wake up, Yah wakes you up to who you are. You done stepped into a battle, because that information goes downhill. Hashatan knows exactly who you are. Now you're not what's the word? You're not sleeping no more. You're not being fooled. Now you're paying attention to nearby everything around you. And that's the beauty of it, because we're not sleeping like the rest do. There's a lot of things we can hint on. If somebody says something in a particular way, we pretty much know, oh yeah, all right, we see exactly what they got going on. And that's just the way we are. If you walk into a West Side store in Chicago or the South Side, we already got our guards up, because we know, all right, this is a pretty rough neighborhood. I got to scope everything out. But yet and still, we'll go in there and buy what we need to buy and come on out. But at the same time, we're watching. We're on the watch, period. Because we know anything can pop off. The same thing is, we're the same way. Once Yah wakes you up, you are on the watch for the majority of us. Some of us still kind of can be somewhat kind of still sleep, and the actions will determine that. Some people, they love the fact, they say they Israel, but some of the minor laws they don't even try to live by. So I mean, like I said, some of them just like the thrill and thing, but then you got the others who's real about it. And that's the thing. And once you wake up, oh,
Yeah,
now
brother Mike, can you
I'm
hear me?
sorry. Go ahead, brother.
It's Cecil. Yeah, uh, a lot of us don't recognize uh, that, the Bible says in Nephesh, we became a living soul. This suit that we're wearing, this flesh, it's only so that we could live and breathe on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going on is, I don't know if it's cancel culture. I don't know if just our mindset, the way we've been brainwashed. But I don't know if a lot of people believe that we are spirit beings. We are the true person, the me. How people say, okay, when somebody passed away, when they die, they go, "Oh, he's not with us anymore." Well, yeah, that's because his essence is as God. You know, and until, because even though I'm living this life and experiencing these things, until it manifests itself in some physical way, you don't realize how, like, wow, what just happened. I mean, what I'm really trying to say is, a lot of us don't know we're in a war. Because we're living just through our five senses. But the battle is real. It has been raging, since time immemorial, and we are definitely front and center, especially now that we have woken up, and the world know who we are, and the elites definitely know. I don't want to go there. So they're waging the battle, you know. And the reason why I'm saying that is, there's a passage in Daniel. It might be Daniel 10, and it says, "And the king of the north, I think he would set up his palatial tent between the seas and the glorious holy mountain." And I did some checking into that, and what I could also imply. He, the beast, or the woman who ride the beast, setting up his citadel, setting up his fortress, his military between God's land or God's people and the glorious holy mountain. But the
Mm-hmm.
seas, when you look at the word seas and you check it out, It could also mean the West or from the West.
Mm-hmm.
So from the West, this particular power is setting up a military operation, a military stronghold between, like separating those of us who lives in the West from getting back to the glorious holy mountain. And the reason I'm saying that is there was, I think in 2017 they brought out a fact that there was a little operation in New York City where there was it was kind of like a, I don't know, it's kind of like a trial thing or one of those. This the word eludes me right now. But anyway, what it had to do with was there was a bomb went off in New York, and it appears to be the culprits are in West Africa. So we got to get some military people over there, and we got to deal with the situation. And it's supposed to be happening in 2023. Well, if they know we're going back to the land, why not start problems in that particular area so that it would discourage us from doing so?
Now
So
you
that's,
recognize it, huh?
yes, I recognize it, and
Yeah.
that's part of the
Uh-huh.
spiritual walk. Absolutely,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. They know what they're doing, bruh. And
Hmm.
that's the thing. They know they can sit here and play this stuff, have all these concerts, and everybody's minds is occupied towards concert, baseball games, and all that stuff, movies. But it's the ones who know what's going on. Those are the ones who are paying attention to it. And when you hear us say they know, when we say they know.
Hmm.
And if we want to sit here and fool ourselves to thinking that these people don't, I ain't go, well, let me just use this term, that they don't study the Bible. Huh. They don't study like we study, but they will look into it. Hey, what are these prophecies talking about? Let's analyze this. Now, what's supposed to happen? We got to find out a way to interfere with this here. Because now, hey, this is concerning our lives. Hey, they talking about Esau is supposed to this and Esau is that. Hey, we got to see to it. Hey, we trying to live, and they go fight tooth and nail to live. That's what they're going to do. Hey, we got to keep this particular people in slavery, or we got to keep them occupied. And if you look at the history of our people, you will see they worked that down to the T. When slavery ran this thing, all right, we got to give them something, but at the same time, we got to control them by giving them something and make them think they are right there equal with us. They've been doing that. I mean, when you study and you look at the history of this nation, of this world, now you can have you it is said that the United States was the last uh, nation to get rid of slavery, quote unquote. Now, but the other nations was like they was like some nations was like, no, we not doing slavery no more. But yet and still they done stepped into the mud. And just like with Adam was not deceived, Eve was. And they are in the same boat. They were not deceived. They just, all right, we go do away with um, slavery. They still responsible for how they treated who was people. They're responsible. No matter how we see it, they are still responsible. That's why y'all said, I'm going to judge the nations with an S. So when we talk about Democrats, Republican, and all this, they all on the same team. They just, they'll sit here and talk this good game for us. And we can give you this. We work with you on this. And we do not support um, separation. We are all God's people. And they went and they took that into the churches. They took that into the churches and they teach that we are all God's children, which to a degree it is true, and then there's another degree it could be wrong. You know, I'm gonna say it like this. Yah said Israel will be saved first, then the nations. So now that's one thing they do not preach, that Israel will be saved first. In order for the world to be saved, Israel got to be saved first. Israel got to be brought up to speed according to Yah's will. Because the nations are not going to go in before Israel. It's just not going to happen. Now, if there's a scripture out there that says something totally different, please share that with me. And I know what the world is looking at. They're looking at these wretched people, these black people, who they consider black women as like prostitutes, but it's okay for the nation to walk around dressed the same way as a sister may be dressed, but she look more provocative. That sounds like jealousy to me, though. But moving on. But when you really stand back and look at how they see us, and then they said, the Bible said these people are going to do what? And what? And they looking at us. They go get this, and they looking at us. Why is he giving it to these people here? All they do is steal, curse, do drugs. They placing a judgment on us already. This is the world. Y'all know exactly how he's going to deal with us. And a lot of the stuff that we go through, that our families go through, is not saying I'm making an excuse for a lot for my brothers and sisters that are in that world. A lot of this stuff been orchestrated and placed to be put in place to disrupt our neighborhoods, to disrupt our way of life. If we did not have it so bad, if we did not have it so bad during slavery, yeah, a lot of us be like, no, 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 no. You know, I mean, we're not Israel. No, I got a big house, I got a nice car. All this stuff ain't nothing but a distraction. But if you continue to go through hardship after hardship, yeah, you're going to start questioning your Elohim. Why do people hate us? Why do I have to work so hard to get here? Why is everything? Why are we so sick? And that's what y'all want you to do. Ask questions, because he gonna lead you into the scriptures to show you who you are. And once you figure out who you are, you done woke up. You mean to tell me this is the reason why we going through it? Now you don't woke up. Now you understand. And when you understand, that's a measure of stress that's come right off of you. A measure of stress just falls right off, because now you understand why you are going through what you're going through, or what we are going through, and why we are going through it. Because our forefathers.
But when you look at the movies, remember the movies will say, "Oh, you're going through something, but it doesn't matter why you're going through it." Right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll say that in the mainstream media. You're going through something, but it doesn't matter why you're going through it.
It
See,
doesn't matter. Yeah.
and that's the problem, because if you understand, no, you're being disciplined, and that discipline was because of X, Y, and Z, then people have to ask the questions. Well, if we're disciplined, then what did we do wrong to be disciplined? What
Yeah.
was the standard of what that discipline was measured against? And then that becomes that question that has to linger. And then people start to think, and then they'll start to ask, and they'll start to pray about it. Okay, Father, something's going on here. And right now, when what we're seeing in Africa is really a lot of the actions that's needed for our people to begin to pay attention and see what is going on. The last thing that they want to see, they say, quote unquote, destabilization, which is not destabilization. But what they don't want to see is folks standing up and making a stand.
Yeah.
That's what they don't want to see. They don't want to see folks saying, I'm done with being enslaved in my own land, in my own borders. I'm done with being oppressed in my own borders. And now they're seeing this and they're reacting to it because here's the thing, they have to react. If it weren't so glaring, and I'm going to tell, and this is what happens. This is an energy crisis because now here's the problem. Now our gas prices are going up because what do you think our gas is going to? Is going over to Europe.
You know why I didn't even think about that, brother? I forgot about that.
Where do you think our energy prices are going to be going up? Because what do you think is going to start happening? We're going to have to support Europe because why? Because Europe is literally getting shut off. We were always the basically the incubator, right? Break in case of an emergency for Europe. That's what that's what America was established for. If one did not know, this is the establishment of America to be the unlimited and never-ending resource to the Europeans.
Mm.
And now, because, well, it's a couple hundred years later, we don't rely on Europe like that or this and that. No, it was that America had positioned themselves as, well, we're the protectorate of Europe. And now at the very end, it's like, well, why are we this protectorate? Why do we do these things here and there? Why are we so ingrained in their politics, in their policy, in their militaries? What does that really have to do with us? And now that's a failing of the basically the inherent job of why this nation was created. And honestly, I look at that just personally speaking, that is why, right? The other nations get mad and then they say, look, they burned Babylon with fire because, look, you get mad at somebody if somebody doesn't do what? Their job. You know what I'm saying?
But let me ask
So,
you something, Harris.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
mean, how long has Russia been the European landlord when it comes down to natural resources? Because it seemed like he cut them off. Am I wrong? I mean, I don't. He cut them
Well,
off. For heating, oil, and all that.
you got to remember, everybody was profiting off of globalization, even Russia. The problem was there was still a spiritual component because they didn't like Russia because remember, Russia never really threw threw in or went in with them on the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
That was that blood oath. You got to keep that blood oath and then you got to oppress. And Russia was never really in an oppressing manner in terms of policies or oppressive manner in terms of policies to African nations. You don't see any other European unions or excuse me, European nations. You don't see any other European nations saying that they're going to forgive the debt of African nations, not to the tune of 23 billion.
Nah. See,
Even You know what I'm saying? Even look, even if it may be just gesturing or propping up or however they want to do it, the pure matter of there was a monetary value established of what would be forgiven for debt. Because why? Because what they're saying more than what is being portrayed. Yes, there's a debt, but what was that really addressing? It was addressing the debt payment system, the debt servitude system that the African nations are under with their Western counterparts. And now, do you understand? Now it goes back to, well, look at what Russia did to us or did for us. Why are you not able to perform the same way?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because why? If you were in the West, man, why do you want us to forgive your debt? You want us to do what Russia just did? No way. Ain't no way. We gotta have you indebted and enslaved in that debt perpetually. Hello. Come on, black folks. Hello. What's the majority of us sitting on? Credit card debts, student loan debts,
And a lot
car
of,
payment debts. You get what I'm telling you?
yeah.
You have to have debt literally just to survive. And sometimes, many times, we carry and pass on those debts to our children that survive.
That's the only thing we pass over. That's something.
You
Mm.
get what I'm saying? Because that has been what we have been dealt with in this nation. So when people are saying, "Oh, you can be prosperous," who? You tell me who can be prosperous if they haven't done some sort of secret society oath, if they haven't sold themselves out in some sort of manner.
Mm.
Because why? Because this is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual battle. Mammon is a spiritual concept. These dollars are their spiritual Elohim. Why do you think they get mad every time we utilize our dollars for something righteous? Oh, they don't care if your dollar goes to the church. Because why? Because it's dead. It's a dead function. They want your dollars going to the church. Will it produce for us? Well, food drives, chicken dinners, and that's about it.
Liquor stores. There will be a liquor store I mean, you go see a church, you go find at least 4 or 5 liquor stores
Right
on the block.
around on the corner from the church, yeah.
Yes. But it's, I mean, but now in Chicago, you have to have, I mean, that was a couple of years ago. You have to have like a $50,000. You have to put $50,000 to apply for the application, and it's not guaranteed that you get it. And if you don't get it, you don't get that $50,000 back. You
Mm-hmm.
get a liquor license.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm noticing though on the south and west side, it's funny how the Arabs can get these liquor stores up and quick in a hurry.
Yeah.
They get them quick. They get them very quick.
Mm-hmm.
And now the only difference I would say the Arabs here and the Arabs in Africa, at least Dar es Salaam, they hire a lot of Africans in Dar es Salaam.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody work for them is African. Now here they may have one or
Mm-hmm.
two African Americans working for them, and usually It's a sister.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do here. Um, and now, with those particular people, nation, they outright would tell you who African Americans are. They know.
Mm-hmm.
We know those are God's people.
Yep.
We know this stuff now. They would tell uh African Americans who they are. And if a brother going to ask, he said, nah, we know exactly who you are. They
Mm-hmm.
know the history now. They know their history about us.
Yes.
Now, because if you look at this, there's two nations of people that has split up our nationality. When we say Arabs, now that's really us. But they took it and everybody know who they are. We even call them that. I call them that, Arabs. But if you go back in history, you kind of find out, wait a minute, these people started with the Hebrews, and they was dark skinned, they was black. Now, like I said, you got a nation that's taking on other people's um, backgrounds. Well, they took it over. I ain't gonna say they took over their background, but they know it. But at the same time, these uh, people will have a uh, will sell stuff to these people, and they know who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
They will sell stuff to keep them in slavery because they
Yeah.
know they study the Bible. They know. We keep these people on fat back pork, all that. Boom, that God gonna be upset at them.
Yep.
They did that in biblical times. The
Mm-hmm.
nation, that's how they tricked. Well,
What,
yeah.
what was it? The curse of Balaam.
There
And
you go.
all we're doing is we're just extending out that curse of Balaam because why? Because the nations can't destroy us. They know they can't destroy us.
Cannot.
But they know that the only thing that we can do is destroy ourselves from within. People like to say, well, I don't like to look at, these videos that they're promoting these videos because if they're doing that, then there's an agenda. Look, if you understand the agenda, you can see the agenda, but if you understand the content of what's been, shown, and you can see the spiritual aspect and the biblical aspect and what they are doing. Did you If you looked at that, they cloned Tyrone. Guess what the white guy couldn't do? He couldn't have Tyrone kill himself. He said that's not my call.
Yep.
Because why? What if you understood what they're trying to say is they can only get you to a point to where you don't have enough grace, or you've extended out your grace from the most high, that you've just been in utter rebellion to where now you're going to reap that final judgment
Mm-hmm.
to where you're in the grave. Because why? Because the most high has seen your heart. If your heart is that hard, and that's why I say, family, you got to be careful with hardening your hearts. Because why? If your heart is too hardened, then guess what? The Most High won't be able to use you, and if the Most High can't use you, then
You hemmed
he'll,
up.
yep, he'll put you in the grave.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe it, look at what the scriptures say. It's a terrible thing. He's an awesome and terrible Elohim. You can't play around with him. He will put you in the grave. But what these other nations have figured on out, look, these other nations are not dumb.
Far from it.
These other nations figured on out, okay, I'll just work under the system of Babylon and make my profit. But they know that Babylon's going to get judged. And that's what I said, family. They have escape plans, they have escape routes. and they're dusting out their escape plan and their escape route right now. There's 163 people on this live. There's about a good 50 active people. What's the other 2/3 doing? They're taking notes. Because if you didn't understand, those are the Gentiles that's listening in. Don't get it twisted.
Map it out. I mean, that's what they do. They have a gift of mapping things out for their life. I mean, for their life.
Mm-hmm.
We got to study with these. Hey, we make the world. We made the world think that these people, voice don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that's sitting back, that's really paying attention. I'm talking about the Gentiles. They
Mm-hmm.
know exactly. No, we need to listen to these people. Now,
Yeah.
if you want to have the little dumb group, all right, let them be to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But they go pay attention to what these brothers and sisters are saying.
Yeah, exactly. So I looked at they clone Tyrone as, yeah, they're just telling on themselves, or they were allowed to tell. Look, in the absence of not being able to control, what do you have to do? Well, you have to actually explain, or try to laugh off. Well, this is what we usually do, and we're gonna make it comical because it doesn't seem as upsetting, right? If they clone Tyrone was a Morgan Freeman piece instead of a Jamie Foxx satire, then black folks would have been mad.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I'm saying, if it was if it was Denzel Washington and they found out, he was being cloned and it was a theat, a not a comedy, but a drama,
Mm-hmm.
then black folks would have been upset. And to be honest, I believe that they had to frame it as a comedy for us so we could actually see,
Yeah.
wow, it's funny, but it's really not that funny.
But
There's some
that's the
truth.
second movie that Jamie Foxx done like that. If
Mm-hmm.
the other one before that was what's it called, Power? When it was this
Mm-hmm.
like they had this like pill or something, and all these like mutation was happening with it was some type of drug. And
Mm-hmm.
but what he in that movie he was depicting that it took place in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana is nothing but us.
Mm-hmm.
Now he had there was a white policeman that was working with him and things, and he was trying to get his daughter. Now this is the thing: the daughter was the one who had this particular DNA that this government wanted, and they were using her to produce this pill. So what he in essence what he was saying, and his daughter, she can walk by a plant, and the plant, if the plant was dying, it'll revive, and things of that nature. So what he was saying in the movie, he said, in essence, it was saying, hey, we got gifts that you don't even know anything about. If you just sit back and ask Yah to teach you, you'll find out there are so many different gifts about yourself. It is unbelievable. You just said earlier, Karis, they know they cannot get rid of us. They tried everything up under the sun. They have destroyed other nations of people. They done tried everything in their power to destroy us.
Mm-hmm.
And they still cannot get rid. How in the world these people how is it that they keep on coming back?
Yeah.
That's the question the nation asking. And that's for the dumb people of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dumb people we're talking about now. Now the smart ones who know, oh no, I know for a fact these are God's people. Y'all wasting y'all money and time. You want to sit up here and take their blood and see how you go manipulate their blood. All right. Give a few give a few $1 million to doing it and things to try to figure out how can you be like them, what it is about, what is so special about these people. And you and brother Cecil said this. It's a spiritual battle. They
Mm-hmm.
looking at the flesh. That's what they looking at.
Mm-hmm.
How is it can we be like this black man? You know, they're looking at DNA. Can we cross this DNA over to ours so we can be equal on the playing field? They know they don't. Well, the smart ones, they know for a fact. Now this is a spiritual battle. Um, they have a God or Elohim who fights for them, who protects them. Yeah, they go through some things, but but they are under that protection. It's only so far you're gonna go. Did not Yah tell Hashatan, Job? He said you can do anything to him, but you better not take his life.
Mm-hmm.
The devil went on about his business because he knew. All right, I'm gonna take his kids, but he could not take Job's life, and,
Mm-hmm.
and he knows. I already pushed him far enough, and I ain't gonna try to push him in because you don't have to destroy me. But if he hit me, it's gonna hurt for some millenniums. The devil is not stupid. He's not stupid. He really truly put himself in a damning position. That's what he put himself in. And so with that, he knows there's no coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, I can't get to the woman. She's in the wilderness. But look at this here. These offsprings. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do my worst to these people.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he has been doing his worst. And now since we start waking up, it's like he's all over this world. It's like nonstop data going in. Hey, we it's like he's waking these people up. Now he's waking his people up. That's a sign to him.
Mm-hmm.
We we're about to be thrown into an abyss. We gotta he's upon it. And then for like brothers and sisters, when you seeing all of these brothers and sisters starting to wake up, that right there should be a warning shot to you. Hey, and then the nations are doing what they're doing. They already occupied. They occupy with um, um, World War III. Um, the brothers in Africa. Nah, we don't want the French here no more. We don't want him no more. They're losing their grip. They're losing their grip. And so now we are coming. We're rising. We're standing. The days of Malcolm X, the days of Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and African leaders who was deleted by man's hand, those days are gone. They're gone, and they letting it be known. You not you got what country was that's standing up with Niger?
Yeah, it's Burkina Faso and Mali.
Now listen to me, Karis. Have you ever heard of any other African nation coming to the aid in that manner?
None.
None.
Absolutely not. And you also have Algeria saying something. This is Algeria.
Mm,
This is, I mean, and this is what I'm saying. It's an incredible time to see this because it's not just that, oh, we're just talking every day and nothing's happening. No, actually, things are happening and things are moving on the continent. And now is the time that we're getting ourselves established to do something there on the continent as our brothers and sisters are literally coming to their senses.
mhm.
It's literally they are coming to their senses right in front of our eyes and they're looking at themselves like, what have we been doing? Why have we been doing this?
And they come into. I think the brothers there are also noticing this. Um, they waking up, they standing up, and then at the same time, there's strength in numbers. And now
Hmm.
Judah has woken up. Judah coming in, Judah's not playing. And the beauty of this is for African Americans, we've been here what 400 years or a little bit more. Um, we got a gift and we don't even recognize it.
Hmm.
The Africans, the African nation, they know what the gift is that we have,
Yes, they do.
but we don't. Now, back what was it? They say the United States is a melting pot of different nations, right? You got some of everybody here. Whatever nationality of people on this planet, you gonna have all of them in the United States. And guess who can never tell you how every last one of them act or behave? Who has that gift? It's gonna be African Americans. African Americans will tell you, hey, this is how these people pretty much get down. And they pretty much move this type of way. Whether if they secluded, they're gonna let you know they're very secluded, and things of that nature. We don't sit back and study people, but when we interact with them, we come to, all right, boom, this is how they get down. It ain't like we sitting right here studying them to gain a leverage over them. That's one thing we do not do.
Hmm.
Now that's one thing they do practice. They practice on, hey, this is how African American get down, and so and so, so and so. Hey, this is how we can get to them. We don't do that. We don't do that. But if you could take our knowledge here, and apply it on the continent,
Hmm.
ooh, yeah, that's gonna be a blow to them. That's gonna be a very big blow. The world is going to come to a point. One day, it's going to come to a point that everybody on this planet go wish they had a black face. They go wish that because this
I,
this this place where we live in now is people are tired of the bully. You know what? It's like, I mean, I don't care how big, how small the countries may be. They're just tired of the demonic rule over their country and how the things they have to go through just to uh, not to cross um, this country. And if they did, they get all these type of stipulations against them. Now I know they tried it with Russia, but it backfired on them. They thought they was going to send Russian, but Russians, they started, making money or whatever. And I think it's just getting to that point, bro, that they looking at the United States, Babylon, as hmm, as a whore that have lived out her usefulness from a scriptural standpoint.
well, I look at it as, as we had gone on over a lot of the nations that are there, especially when you understand what's traditionally happened on the continent, right? They're really trying to find out what it is that the US is and the West is doing, because you saw, and France has threatened Niger, right? And Niger's like, no, we're kicking y'all all out. and I and that and I believe that's the US included.
Yeah,
They're
I
all getting,
think
yeah, they're all
mhm.
getting kicked out. Like when I was reading some of these news highlights, they're evacuating. So they're letting them leave, they're evacuating, you know. And so as that is going on, of course, you're going to get mad if you are leaving and you're leaving money on the table. And that's what they see. They're leaving their wealth, that energy, that uranium that they need to power France and potentially a majority of Europe. That's going to be cut off. And if it's cut off, okay, you can have it, but you can have it at higher prices. Or they could just say, look, I don't trust you even coming back into this country. So if you
Hmm.
want this, we're going to go through a middleman of China or Russia or somewhere else. And technically, chances are that's probably what may happen. Hey, the middleman gets their cut and we get our cut. And guess what? Now it's 5 times more expensive.
Yeah, you get the crumbs of what's falling off the table.
You get what I'm saying? But even though it's 5 times more expensive, guess what? Niger's making three to 4 times what it was making. You see what I'm saying? That's the economic game that's there. Because
Hmm.
why? Now they can put demands on a European nation, and that European nation has lost its power. That's the only reason why they threaten. You know, we got to go to war. We're going to go to war. Okay, you can go to war, but guess what I have in here with me? This is why they make no mistake. They said, "We Wagner, please come in." Because why? If you're going to get paid for your uranium, think about this. If you're only getting 10 cents on the dollar with the West being in there, but then now you have control, and guess what? Now you can make $2.50.
Mm.
That's a 250% markup. Actually, more than that. That's like 2,500% markup.
But I'm looking at they you got all of this stuff that's going on, um, and now uh, they're trying to bombard Russia. And somebody, I mean, the strength of the dollar with all of this going on, it appears to me now, and I'm not no strategist or nothing. It appears to me that if the dollar is getting weaker, and yet and still you're trying to go into Africa and trying to bombard or bully bombard a nation, that money got to run out somewhere,
Hmm.
somehow. And then you got this looming thing that you got going on in Ukraine. Something go have to give, because you can't
Exactly.
be all over the world thinking you go fight the world.
Hmm.
That I'm just brother. I mean, man, you the expert in that military thing. I mean, I just don't see um how this is going to fare out for their benefit.
Well, the thing is that when you are no longer able to have a monetary instrument as a device of control, then you have to go to armament, right? But honestly, whose technology has gotten better? That's the whole thing. Because for a couple of years, as America was in war, people could see and study what devices had been used.
Hmm.
Every time something is used on the battlefield, guess what? Nations know about it. Nations have sensors, they can see it, and nations study it, and they can say, okay. well, this is what we need to have, or this is what we need to do.
Right. But then at the same time, you got some nations that's looking at, like I said, studying. They study the scriptures, and they say, well, the scripture said if if you did this to my people, you will be blessed or whatever. You go, yeah. And so I think that some of these countries, nations, and people going to see that. It's wait a minute. The scripture said, if you did it to the least of my people, you did it to me. Well, let me sit up here and give a donation to Q2UA to showing that hey, I'm doing it to the least of these people, so I can have a measure of life after this stuff hit the fan, or for my family. So I mean, these people going to look at that, bro, and one thing about it that they know, the Almighty cannot lie, and He
Hmm.
holds His word. He holds His word. And I think these people are really truly going to start seeing that. It's,
Hmm.
man, I got this. My family did this old time stuff, and man, I mean, uh, we need to start dumping this money to African Americans, to Africa. No, we need to change this stuff here. If we don't, Yah says, or I'm gonna say God said in the Bible that He's going to destroy these type of people who's living fat off the hog from off of His people.
Hmm.
Now, bro, yeah, they're gonna start seeing that. They're gonna
Well, and Mike, and you bring up an interesting question because, honestly, um, there's nothing new under the sun. There's really nothing new under the sun. And the funny thing is that when you had the Civil War, when the Union won, and those Confederate colonels or generals that did not want to side with um, the the demands that was imposed on them, what a lot of the folks did was they actually hid their money with the folks that were formerly enslaved. And
mm,
at that time, it was kind of like, well, let me disperse my wealth into these folks, give them a little bit of land, keep them here, keep them happy for a few decades. And then when everything kind of subsides, then I can go back and recoup the land and the money. And that was literally what had happened all throughout the South, especially for folks that had stayed. When this is what happened, this is when people tell you about, well, red summer, and and all this other stuff. Well, yes, but they really didn't understand. They don't really look deep into why was that caused.
mm,
It wasn't for everyone did not get a check coming out. But there were folks, there were families, family members that would get a little something something. Here, take this land. We're going to put this land in your name. We're going to put this money in your name. And they knew, look, we're going to recoup this money as soon as the union folks up and leave. Because
all
what
right,
the union was doing, they were coming on down there and they were pillaging too. Because they said, okay, well, we're about to be pillaged, but at least we can recoup a large majority of our money, years later, decades later. They were playing the long game.
mm,
And that's exactly what they did. When they had the race wars back in the 20s, that's what they were doing. They were recouping. Because why? You just went through World War One. You
Yeah.
had some economic turmoil, and now with World War One and the Spanish American War, now you didn't have as much heat on you from the Union or the North. So they went back on in there and terrorized.
Yeah, you're right. They did do that. They did set that history up there. They did do that. They did.
So I look at it like this. It's kind of funny because I believe, and I have that sneaking suspicion. This is something Brother Karras believes. Just my thoughts only. That when you start to see the deal go down with how things will start to perpetrate and creep more and more into an all out war, because that's going to happen. They had drone attacks in Moscow, and now they just sunk another Russian warship.
Mm.
That war is going to be declared, and when that war is going to be declared, it's not just going to be declared on Ukraine.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's going across the board.
It'll be declared on Europe. And guess what? Now you're seeing the chess pieces together. If Europe doesn't have energy and a steady supply of energy because it's been cut off because nobody is supplying them, how long do you think that war effort is going to last? Not very long.
No, I don't think that's gonna be alone, but it's gonna be dramatic though. I can
It'll,
imagine that it's gonna
yeah,
be dramatic.
absolutely. It will be dramatic, and then they'll say, well, why are we fighting each other when the main instigators are across the water? Just look, watch and see how these chess pieces develop.
Oh, it's gonna happen that way, bro. You're right. The main instigator is over here. I mean, wait. Didn't Obadiah in the book? It said they got a net for him. That's up under them.
Yeah,
It
it's
net catch you. I mean, catch and now they instigate. Like I said earlier, they have a gift of instigating things.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the whole thing. We can see this coming because the scripture says it. But I'm going to tell you this. They're going to try to, quote unquote, hide their money out. Here, let me donate. Let me help support you. Well, remember all the stuff that I helped to support you with? Hey, help me back. That's what's coming, family.
Mm.
That is what's coming. Because they know, okay, well, chances are they won't go after black folks or African Americans. These folks strategize. Do you know that a lot of these people, that's their jobs, to tell you
And
exactly
good
what
at
I
it.
just told you?
And they good at it.
Yeah, and they're good at it. They come up with five, six, seven courses of actions. Well, this person here, or company there, that company here. That's all they're looking at. I'll donate to this charity, to this organization, because I believe that when the dust settles, then we can recoup in a generation or two. And yes, these are the think tanks. That's correct, brother Gar.
Mm, mm, mm.
So mark my words, family. Mark my words. It's gonna be coming very, very quickly. Because like I said, I don't think they have much longer because to be quite honest, now you're going to see a lot of resource constraint, and the only resources now that they really truly have, in my opinion, that they truly have access to is going to be on the west side of Africa. I believe that when the deal goes down, the Red Sea and the Suez will be shut off. There's nothing on the east side of Africa, at least by ship. The only thing that they'll have is the west side. This is why Nigeria fights so hard for the western, or yeah, the western oppression of Africa. And now the people, the nations are noticing that, man, Nigeria is just really, they're messing us up. The other nations are paying attention. They're seeing that. So then what do you think's going to happen to that leadership in Nigeria? What do you think's going to happen to those African countries that see that?
Mm, mm, mm.
Africa will police its own, and they will do that. And now you're starting to see these two sticks rising on up, and now they're overcoming like a troop. Oh, you want to launch some things out of Nigeria? Okay, time to go in.
Mm.
You're seeing how Africa is shaping up because you're seeing the lines of communication either being established or are now in jeopardy for a war, a conflict. In the military, we would call things like this the road to war. How did we get to the battle? How did we get to the confrontation? How did we get to the declaration? There's a buildup to get to that declaration. Because once you have that declaration, that's an all out fight. Nothing's fair in what? In love and war.
Mm, mm. That's gonna be a sight to see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, black folks, don't you want to get in the draft and don't you want to help us on out? And when black people say no, we're not doing it. We're sitting out this one. Y'all, we look. This is a direct result of white supremacy, and black people will be real quick to flash images of, well, y'all supported Nazis and now y'all want us to help. No, thank you, because I don't know where the bullet's gonna come from the front or from the back. Have I not been saying that on this channel, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Have I not been saying that? The moment that they enter into the conflict, they won't know what to do with us.
Oh, they could be kind of bewildered.
They're going to be bewildered. Exactly. You want us to fight on out there. You want us to draft us. But, yo, up until like when this thing started, they were waving Nazi flags. Tell me something. Tell me what changed.
Man, and then the United States over there. Uh, hmm.
Yeah,
Support.
yeah, you're not gonna get no support from black folks. They already know that. Look, that's what I'm telling y'all, family. Just be prepared to go to concentration camps. Be
Man,
prepared. They'll call it something much nicer, of course. They'll call
hmm.
it, for your security. You know, while my grandmama and being rounded up in them white school buses. Oh, it's okay. It's for security. Because you know the Russians are going to come through and they're going to take all black people away. I don't know what messaging they'll have. They'll have some, probably something to that effect. We gotta we gotta bust you all to these communities. It's an open air facility. All you gotta do is get your, make sure that your medical lollipops are good and scan your medical device, the
Yeah,
tattoo.
man. I mean, I, the thing about it is, I look at it that all we trying to do is come back as a nation. That's all we trying to do. And you got these nations that may be fighting against it and things. Uh, Putin got all that black information over there where he at, and then it seemed like that the world don't want that information to get out because they start seeing the information that he has,
Mm-hmm.
along with some other religious Catholics got in their basement,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which they had for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you really want that truth to come out, let somebody raid the basements of these nations with all these black artifacts and the artifacts.
You know, Mike. I actually believe this. I believe that when the smoke settles in this upcoming conflict, I believe that the Catholic Church will literally have no choice but to give up those artifacts.
Mm,
Do you see what I'm saying?
I
And I
see you
believe
on that. Yeah.
and I believe when they do so, it'll be made to be on full display.
Wow.
And
I
just
believe
think
that.
about what that does to to the religion of Catholicism.
Shoot, it destroys it.
It'll destroy it.
They will literally destroy themselves. All right. Oh, wait a minute. You mean to tell me this? Oh yeah. Um. Then the world. I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that these people are God's jury? Yes. Yeah, it'll destroy them quick. Ain't no ifs, ands, and no buts about it. Because at the same time, I mean, scripturally speaking, they're going to get a portion of that wrath of Yah. They're going to get it.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, you're looking at things now. You got you have some nations that want to change the Bible. All right, go ahead and fit your narrative. I mean, they're going to do. When Yah said, "Do not take anything from this book or add anything to the book," first and foremost, he was talking to his people.
Hmm.
The nation, I'm not his people. I can change this book, and they had that mentality that they can do that, and they go in and change. It's not as if it's going to hold weight because of what they're changing, but when it's when things come or reaches its point, when you got these nations, just like we said earlier, once the war is declared,
Hmm.
once that's declared, Japan is going to be involved. Who else? Iran is going to be involved. North Korea is going to be involved. China. Who else? Russia. United States. But I'm looking at all these proxy wars. That's the you need bullets.
Hmm.
And now, from my calculation, I mean, my calculation could be off, but there was billions of dollars that were sent over to Ukraine. Billions. Now, I mean, this is just me. I'm not no analyst. But they said that the dollar has dropped in value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's dropped in value, you sending billions of dollars over to fight this war. You got proxy wars over in Africa. And I kind of figured something like that was going to happen anyway. You know, they give Sudan and all that stuff. Um, but the dollar is being no good. Then you have these countries that join in with what is it, BRICS? BRICS
Mm-hmm.
now, and they hell bent on destroying the dollar. Now, where's I'm just trying to. I got 45 billion. Oh, man, good gracious. I'm looking at how can you continue to fight when your money is not backed by nothing, nothing but the air. That's all it's backed by. I think the U.S. dollar. They took gold. They took gold away back in the '60s as a backer. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's what they did. And then they turned to oil.
All right. But so what is the so the dollar is backed by oil?
Yeah,
Oh, they hemmed up. Oh, they hemmed up. Where's all this oil coming from?
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, they hemmed up. They hemmed up.
That's why Saudi Arabia wanted to join BRICS.
They hemmed up. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. It was not that we were never going to get here. No, we were going to get here, and now we're here.
Mm. And I guarantee you, if you go back and look at history, the U.S. did something to Saudi Arabia that they didn't like and kind of forced them into that particular relationship of selling them oil.
Well, think about this. Think about this. It was last year, or either earlier this year. I think it was last year. China brokered a peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia.
But they wasn't but they was not using the U.S. dollar, right?
No, well, no. The Saudi Arabia is still using the U.S. dollar, but now they're getting out of it.
Okay, all
That's
right.
why, yeah, that's why they're looking at. They're one of the nations that wants to join BRICS.
And I know they got to be sweating bullets right now.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people truly understand what that means. Is if your dollar is backed by oil, well, you need to get as much oil as you can, and that's what's been happening. Now, one of the major suppliers, right, of oil is no longer a viable option because they're now looking towards the east instead of the west. This is a scary time for the west, but the west doesn't want to tell you how scary of a time it is. This is a dire time. It's literally dire straits.
Because it kind of appears to me with this these proxy wars that they, you know, bringing up in Africa, that seemed like a last ditch effort. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, the proxy wars, it's to me, it could be viewed as a last ditch effort, but I would view it as these are more of the direct impacts of polarization because all the proxy does is show, well, the resource that's there, we're now fighting over that resource because that resource is going to be what's needed to win the war. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Okay.
now you have those indirect conflicts, and that's what you're seeing, right? It was that the conflicts were, well, I had my own puppet in there, and now people are like, we don't want your puppet because now we understood the policy of what that puppet did to our people. And that's why they literally have had coups over this last year. This year was literally the year of coups, the year of the Western overthrow.
Mm. Yeah, they sweating bullets, bro. They
Hmm.
sweating bullets. That's yeah, they sweating bullets. And now with this, man, they got a couple of my accounts on hold when it comes to this digital stuff. And I mean, you go in there and talking about withdrawal, and they got it, it got it graded out.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking at this as a last ditch effort on their part, and what they're, I mean, we as a nation, we're a nation, but we're separated. We really got to fight to unite ourselves back together, because the moment South Africa, West Africa, North Africa, East Africa comes to one accord to our mission as a nation, and we're um, doing things for the betterment of our brothers, our neighbors all around Africa. That there, that that is a that is a day that we will all have to stand back and relish in. The day that we come together, where we're not really looking at who's going to get over on who. The moment we get rid of that line of thinking, we're starting to gain strength. And with all of this coming together thus far, this is not of our doing. We know that there will be some Gentiles that will be saved through all of this. It's according to scriptures. Um, and I think Yah is going to use these Gentiles, hey, you know, to help further our cause. Period. I seriously believe that. You know, I'm not going to speak ill of all Gentiles and things of that nature. No, because some of them really truly are fighting for the cause. They seeing the the damage that has been done to us. And when I say us, I'm talking about all of us, wherever we may be. There's a damage. If you go and see us in our people in China, you go see them the least of all people. You're going to see them as least. Wherever we are located at, we're going to be the least of all people on that particular nation. In the world seeing this. And you got some people that seeing this that are Gentiles and like, why is it that these nations, these nationalities of people, I mean nation of people, always in a bad position? And then one thing about the world, they always looking for the underdog to come up. If you go to you look at some of these movies when it seems like, especially these like these movies that be showing these like misfits of poor basketball players or something, and they can't get it together, and they bring some type of coach there to to retrain them, to have them to restructure, and then the underdogs come off victorious. You gonna start seeing that. They gonna start looking at, hey, these people, they do things better than us already. And our livelihood depends on them. They built this nation. They built this nation from brick by brick. They did a great deal of inventions, which were stolen, a lot of them, and some of them, and then they painted their likeness. Oh, we did this here and we did that there, and they speak in a manner where it's very trusting. They know how to manipulate their voices to make them like they trusting. But when it's all over said and done, our people, we press on, we press on because they know the moment these people come together as a nation, you talk about technology, I think we will be calling this something totally different. I seriously believe that. We're going to be calling this something totally different because our method is going to be something now, it's not going to be based upon demon activity. This is going to be something that Yah's going to give us out of our heads. Do this here, do that there. And we're going to do it on a degree they never thought about. All you got to do is just look at what we did here in the United States. And that was up under duress. Everything that we did, even though we may have invented things, it was always up under duress. And we kept climbing. Even when your family life is in danger, we kept on coming up with things to do, how to do this better. But now give us that time where we're on that continent and we got all of those resources at our hand. Think about, there's some things we can't even think about. Just like the brother was in Nigeria, he figured out how to run a TV off of the static in the air. These are the things our brothers and sisters are coming up with. The brother who took he came up with a machine that takes the moisture out the air and they come with water.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Air water generation.
Now, but you know that brother, he's heavily monitored
Absolutely.
by the government.
Mm-hmm.
He's heavily monitored. Man, Mike Roebuck, we spoke. We was going back and forth with that brother. He's heavily monitored because that, in so many words, is a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a game changer. If we can just, this is our mission that Yah has put upon us. Start working. Yah said, look here, I need for you all, start drawing my people together. It's time. And that's what we are trying our best to do. Yeah, you're going to go through some things because this is not no task that's going to be done overnight. Not from a fleshly standpoint. Yah is a God of order, and he's going to maintain that order. He's going to maintain that order. But when he say, hey, this is what you do, love your brothers, deal with your brothers according to knowledge, he means that the quest to unite Africa, it's more than a notion. It's more than a notion because everybody that comes in is not, you can have people come in claiming I'm Hebrew, I'm Israel, boom, boom, boom. And come to find out that no, they really truly don't have the interests of the people. So yeah, there's some weeding out that has to happen. It may gotta happen. So, but what we're here to do is not saying we go sit up here and fight on them and complain about the prejudice of white people. No, we ain't trying to do all that. That's a waste of time. The world know who the world is. I don't think we need to keep going back and forth talking about oh they this and that. No, we need to be concentrating on us coming together. That's the biggest concentration that we should be working on. But trust and believe, the devil, he's going to be working to make sure those two sticks do not come together. What's Sister Char say, Karis? When it's all over said and done, these two sticks was coming together.
And when it's all over said and done, these two sticks will become one.
I'll become one. And so, I mean, that's 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 our goal. That is our goal. This is the reason why we take trips back and forth to Africa. This is the reason why we like to stay in contact with brothers in different countries in Africa. It's to draw us together, not just in Africa, because we got to do. We Karis talked to Sister Chantel and Brother Asaph over in the UK. We trying to get any and everybody to come together as what you call it? What did the brother say? He
The
said,
diaspora. The
"That's
diaspora.
you know," and that's our goal. That's our goal. This this war is not our business. It's not our fight. Our fight is to fight to come together. That's a fight within itself. That is a fight within itself. And if we're talking about fighting a war, man, please, I ain't no. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. We got to make time to really fight to come together as a nation. So the once we really come together as a nation, hey, once Judah get back on that continent, that's when the healing starts. That's when the healing starts. It's all about right now is taking avenues to come together. That's one. Yeah, we gonna have some mishaps or whatever and things. It's going to happen. But overall, when it's all over said and done, we gonna need one another. Scripturally speaking, this nation is supposed to be. It will be unfit to live. And then you may have your people that say, "Oh man, what's in Africa? I'm not going there. Ain't nothing in Africa." Well, one thing about it, if you cannot live in a place that's been destitute, Africa is going to be paradise for you, unless you don't like living. And go on to the grave. I mean, be done with it. But these are the things that Quest Unite Africa is working with. We work with different organizations, uh, sharing them our dream, what we hope to accomplish, and things according to Yah's will, and we do it. We do it according. We walk in that way. We're not here trying to sit up and start a war with nobody. All we trying to do is bring unity, and that's the most important thing that we're trying our best to do. And with that unity, we have different groups. I met with a group yesterday. It's like three brothers on the south side of Chicago, and they have a movie and film studio, and they teach the young brothers and sisters how to do music. And man, listen to me, Mike. Karis. I was there yesterday. Man, they started playing Heartbreak Hotel. I was like, are you joking me? I mean, they was, man, I mean, boom, boom, boom. I was like, is that, I know this. He said, man, he said, you'll be surprised at what these little young kids can do if you give them the opportunity. So the filmmaker, he came back, he was late. But that brother said, they said, no, I want to, this brother walked in the room with $30,000. And that's, I'm not talking about the camera. I'm talking about his lens. He had three lens. They cost 10,000 each. I was like, brother. He said, I bought this equipment to teach our little kids. Give them the opportunity. Just, how to make moves. Now you talking about sunlight. Once you look through that lens, it teaches you how to move that lens when, back. I was like, bro, are you are you joking me? This brother told me every person he dealt with. He said, no, I'll go out, fly out to LA. I was on site and I was shooting the film for this here. And he said he just got tired of it.
Mm.
And but he said, no, I don't do that no more. I teach the kids now. He comes to this fire station on the south side of Chicago, and that's what he do. So we are in talks with him, and I mean with that organization. So this is what we at Questioning Africa is doing. Any brothers and sisters out there that's really truly are interested in working together, that's what we are trying to do, and we're fighting to do that. We are fighting to do that. And if you can, I mean, because we got teams of brothers and sisters that are volunteering their time. And with some of their times, we incur uh, issues with money. And so we have to take up donations to, because some things that some brothers can and cannot do, we have to pay for it. We have to pay for it. We got to step out, pay for this, get this particular service in order to keep this organization running. That's what things have to be done. It has to be done. And so in order for us to continue to run and stay open and do what we're supposed to do, because some organizations don't have the resources that Quest Unite Africa has. Period. And then there's some organization that has resources that Quest Unite Africa don't have, that they have. But we working together, we work those resources together. And this is not about who's the strongest, who's the biggest, who this, who that. Because if we do it that way, we're not really truly working together. We're working against one another. And I would encourage anyone, that Babylonian line of thinking is the most dangerous thing. And don't get me wrong, we grew up here and up under this thinking. And at the same time, we gotta rip it up from us. Now, there's some good things about the business line or mentality or what they taught us, whatever, that we can use for our benefit. But then there's some side of the business. No, we need to just go ahead and just flat out destroy that. Because if it's going to cause disruption with our brothers and sisters, yeah, it needs to be done away with. But we at Quest Unite Africa, that's our goal. That's our goal. And the foundation we have now, we got some. I'm gonna move the brothers out of the way. These sisters, man, these are some educated sisters. These are some educated sisters. And you talk about, and one sister was having an issue with some type of program. Brother Brick Red came in and said, let me hop into that. He did some, boom, fixed it, repaired it. These brothers and sisters are not playing. These are highly educated brothers and sisters that said, you know what, I see something with Quest Unite Africa. I'm going to do this here. I'm going to do that. And they coming in. When I say they coming in like with a beast mode. It's like, you can't stop me. They coming in. They coming in and they doing what they see that they need to do according to the Most High will. That's it. And I mean, but that's the beauty of it. And with all organizations, and I was speaking with this brother. I was speaking with these brothers yesterday, and they was explaining how there was one particular brother that was a part of their organization, and they said, and I was kind of surprised to hear the for them to share that with me. And then, but they were saying, hey, now he came in and so on. So, he was talking brother this, brother that. This is what we need to do, boom, and kind of found out he was taking money like a running faucet. Wasn't worried about nobody but himself. And they said once they really found out what was going on, yeah, they had to remove that brother from the organization. He said, but ever since then, they've been on the up and up. And it happens with organizations. It happens, and it's not saying that person may be a bad person in general. It's just some things, some people just don't work. I never forget, it was one sister, she shared with me that she said, Mike, there's a law. Y'all say you must not yoke a bull with a donkey. And it made sense, because if you got a brother or a sister that is taking a lead over a particular organization, and you may have this sister who's highly educated, know how to maneuver things, know the ins and outs of it, and then you bring in another sister or brother that is nowhere on her level for her to really truly relate or communicate with. No, you got a clash there. You unevenly yoked. That person cannot keep up with this person who's educated, practiced it, worked it, and things of that nature. All you gonna do is build up a great deal of frustration. That's all you're going to do. Because now you're trying to move on and progress. But now you got you got a rope tied to this other person's hip, and you're trying to run. It's weighing you down. And when it's wearing you down, the organization goes down. And so we have to be mindful of that. It's not saying that person is a bad person, but put people in their place where they belong, where they can flourish. And I think that's the way we're going in. Putting people in a position where they can flourish in order for this organization for any organization to press on, to move forward, where we can work together and become one nation. You can see Q2UA, you may see Stepping Stones, T3 and Me, Teo Ministry. All of these organizations, they're coming together and they're building strength. And that strength is built on one understanding. We know exactly what we need to do as to come together. We may have some disagreements or whatever, we press on. I mean, you got a disagreement, you move on about your business, keep it moving. But when it's all over said and done, we know what the scriptures say. We know what Yah's will is, and we live according to his will. Don't be hating your brother with intense hatred. Forgive your brothers. And that's what we try to do. We try our best to live up to that. And now, and I know I said this before, we are trying our very best to separate ourselves from nations. Israel has never put forth, at least show me from the scriptures, where they put forth an effort to fight to be that only nation in front of Yah. Right now, in this time, we're that nation who is fighting to be one nation. In biblical history, Israel always failed. They fought, they went over there and went over to this nation. They started worshiping their God. We're trying our best. We're not trying to put any other God before Yah. Period. Money, we try to keep money in its place. Material things, keep it in its place. That's what we fight to do. That's what we fight to do. And the more we fight to do that, the better off we're going to be. But we are fighting to do what God has us to do, to come together as a nation, to forgive your brothers and sisters, to love your brothers and sisters. And the more we start doing that, the stronger we become.
Hmm.
Mm. But if, like I said, this is the organization, Quest to Unite Africa, and we got a lot of we have a lot of things in front of us that we're trying to accomplish, and it will get accomplished. It will get accomplished, but we're trying to maneuver everything to the continent of to the continent of Africa. And that's where we're from. We know that from a biblical standpoint, um, Africa is the nation where the world went in and divided up Yah's country, and that's and it's it unless there's another scripture out there that says otherwise, because I know they say the United States is a melting pot, but that's not the one. I know some brother was saying that Africa is not Africa, America is also the promised land. Scripturally, I can't support that. I mean, me myself, I mean, I cannot support that because from a scriptural standpoint, from the Bible I read, that Babylon, or AKA United States, will be destroyed. So I don't see no paradise about that. And that's based upon the Book of Revelations. But moving forward, Quest to Unite Africa, that's what we're trying to do. We're talking to different brothers locally, uh, brothers and sisters in Atlanta, down in Florida, where Karis is at, any and everybody that's willing to work together for a common cause. Our doors are open. We are willing to sit down, do a Zoom or whatever, and you meet some of the brothers and sisters on the team, and we work things out and see how we can come together. That's what we're about. This has never been done before, but it one day it had to come because y'all said, "Hey, I'm going to start rattling the bones. I'm going to start raising up my people." So now you got to ask yourself, what part of history do you want to be on? The one that's going to deal with Jacob or Israel, or a nation that's about to fall? And the fall, that fall of nation is going to be great. It's going to be epic. And I know with some of us, we can't imagine that because all we can imagine is we always low. We the bottom of the bucket. But the day is going to come, and you're just looking at it. Everything is, what was that? Yakoba. He did a show a couple of days ago. Gary's talked about it too on his show. When you notice Africa, the brothers in Africa, in different countries in Africa, start standing up, and then you made this, and they made comments. Oh no, you're not gonna come in and mess with that country. If that's the case, we coming over there to help them out. That has never been done, never said before, never. Why all of a sudden the confidence of these leaders in Africa has become stronger?
Hmm.
You got presidents kicking out the French. Ghana, oh no, we gonna keep our chocolate. We gonna do our chocolate ourselves. Now the French, they got a synthetic um, chocolate now because they know. All right, they didn't cut us off, brothers. This is happening right now. This coming together. Whether it's gonna be two Quest to Unite Africa, this coming together is happening right now. Look at what's going on in Africa. Listen to what these brothers and sisters are saying there. They're tired of Western influence. You know, you can be free. You can do what you want to do. You can the alphabet people. No, we don't get down that way. Yah he gave us a book of instructions as to how we need to run our lives, and we we live by that, and that's what we do, and that's just our lives individually. We live according to the Torah. That's what we do, and we are in a time where we are standing up. The world, we're standing up, and the world is at war. It's the world is, I mean, it's on the brink of a war. These are the two major things that's happening. There's a war going on with the nation within themselves, and then you have these particular people of the continent of Africa waking up. Those are the two major things in this world. If there's anything outside of that, what is it? But those are the two major things. Karis, is there something else?
No, that's it, Mike. I was just letting you go.
No, I mean, man.
Hallelujah. Well, yeah, we've been at this for 2 hours. I'd definitely like to appreciate thank Brother Cecil for coming on and chatting with us. We dedicate these Fridays, Quest Unite Africa discussions. You know, we every week is something different, something that's going on, but we see the Most High moving um, considerably. We've had changes within the organization recently, and so you know we would ask that you all continue to keep us in prayer. But the changes, honestly, were for the better, and that helps us to move forward, so we can continue to do the Most High's mission. Um, Again, if you would like to support, please visit us at quest2uniteafrica.org. I have that strolling on the ticker line. You can also give. We ask that you please utilize it's $Q2UA, $Q2UA for our Cash App. It's just a more streamlined process, and you'll see it'll say Quest to Unite Africa. And we also have our PayPal that's been updated to where it's paypal.me/Q2UA. So we're streamlining a lot of the processes. Again, when we first got this thing up and running in April, we really shot out the gate, and it was a good thing, right? It showed how quickly we could kind of scale up, but now we're looking to internally to ensure that we have the mechanisms in place, the policies, the guidance, the procedures in place to where we are doing things in a more effective manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the beauty of that. I mean, but we learned something. I mean, we shot
Hmm.
out the gate. Like, you ever seen those those greyhound dogs in a dog race, and they
Hmm.
come out full speed, full. I mean, zoom, and
Hmm.
that's how we came out.
Yeah.
You know, we came out now with us coming out like that. We learned a lot. We did. We learned a lot, and shooting out like that. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
now it's like, all right, let's slow this speed down because we got to make sure that that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And so
Hmm.
it's advantageous now for us to slow down because there's some things we got to sit back and think, analyze. Now we got to be those think tankers,
Hmm.
and with this organization, we got to sit back, analyze. Is this advantageous for us to do? Would this affect? the brothers and sisters. What are we doing for the brothers and sisters here and on the continent? Things of that nature. So we got there's a lot that we have to do in order to get ourselves mentally and spiritually and physically prepared to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And this, like I said, there's a lot of educated brothers and sisters out there that has gifts and things of that nature. Oh, hey, let's just work this together to come together so we can press on. Of course, it's going to be a beautiful thing to see this nation come together. It's going to be. It's just not if, it's going. And I know we dealing with some history of being taught not to trust your brother, always to hate your brother, kill your brother. No, we trying to get up. We're on a whole different level. We're on this plateau that we're on is not going down. This plateau that we're on is an everlasting plateau.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Praise y'all all day and every day. Um, so I mean, we got this here, and we got to upload some photos too of the trip in Africa.
Yeah, we got some work to do. That's what Mike. That's what Mike was trying to say. We do have some work to do, family. We definitely appreciate your time, your support. Giving us a chance to take a couple of hours out of your day to let you know, the things that we're doing on over at Quest Unite Africa. Again, we're moving because this world is moving, and we are doing things that we know that the Most High is allowing us and putting us in the positions to get things done. So again, family, thank you all for helping us to move this mission along for economic development and critical infrastructure. And so, with that said, family, most high willing, I'll be back on Covenant Awakenings on Monday. Brother Mike will be back next week for our Q2UA Covenant Awakenings collaboration,
Mhm.
open discussion. And so, with that said, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.
Shalom, family.